Wow. What a gorgeous day. So beautiful outside. So I'm happy I decided to come to yoga first, and hopefully you can get out and get a little sunshine, absorb some vitamin D, and prepare for spring. Think we're supposed to get spring on Monday? I think I read that. According to Groundhog Day. That's what it is. Well, welcome everyone. I'm coming in a little unanchored today. I'm just going to be honest about that. I take an annual silent retreat every year and go up to Yosemite Monastery up in Kentucky. And one of my best friends got annoyed with me a couple weeks ago because when I told her I was going, she was like, "Why didn't you tell me I want to go?" And I'm like, "Because it's a silent retreat." And oh my God. I'm like, no, I do silence from the moment I get in the car. I drive in silence. I come home in silence, and I would be too tempted to talk to you. So basically, I went by myself, and I always have such a good time when I'm there, because I don't know if you've ever done a silent retreat. The silent retreat, it's not easy. First of all, you're running on adrenaline, right? Because we're all running on adrenaline most of the time to get things done and to, manage our schedules and everything involved in life. And so it usually takes, I don't know, at least 12 to 15 hours to finally settle down adrenaline wise, and for you finally to get into that space of being ready for silence. And there's been times in the past where I've taken books and then I realized, well, I'm just filling my head up with words by reading. So I don't really take books anymore to read. Sometimes I've taken journals so that I can, write, but again, that's words. So even though you're being silent, I try to drop the verbiage. I try to drop as much as possible into that place of a precious pause, pushing that pause button. And it was difficult this weekend. It was really difficult. And Saturday, when I finally started settling into it, this place is great. Then my sister started calling me. And she's one of those people in your family, like she gets obsessive, and if she doesn't reach you, she's going to continue until she does. And she did finally text me, and I texted her back. I was like, I can't talk on my retreat. And I was like, is everything okay? And then she just started spewing all this stuff through text. And guess what Saturday was? Full moon. A full moon that usually triggers us emotionally. And so why did I even respond? I didn't need to respond. Honestly, I should have had my phone turned off, so I wasn't even getting notifications, right? So there's lessons to be learned in everything. And she triggered me, and boy, I got emotional, and then I had to shake that. I went for a walk. They have a beautiful trail of statues, trail out in the woods. Finally got clear. Got to go hear one of my, there's always a monk that speaks the day you arrive or the day after you arrive. And so I went to it. And I was very happy to see this man named Father Carlos. And he's this monk who's lived there for years. If you've ever heard of Thomas Merton, he wrote a ton of books. He was an important Western monk because he really opened up a bridge to Eastern religion and Eastern philosophy. And he was friends with Thich Nhat Hanh and Dalai Lama. And anyway, he was very interfaith related, which is one reason I like and trust going to that monastery, because I know they're open-minded. But anyway, Father Carlos wasn't there last year when I went because he had cancer and was going through treatments. And I remember thinking when I was in the chapel and the monks came in to do their daily prayers, and I remember looking for Carlos because he's really the only one I know. And I'm like, where's Carlos? He's not here. And thankfully, when I went to the talk the next evening, he was there, and he has a way of sharing stories in scripture that is so absorbable and so relatable and so non-judgmental and in such a loving way. I felt like that's why I went this weekend, because my mind and emotions were kind of all over the place. But I felt like his little speech that he gave us is like, oh, this is what I needed for. And every time I go, I get something somewhere, whether it's a meditation in a chapel by myself with my mala beads, or whether it's on the trail, meditating one of the statues, or sitting in the dining hall and just observing people and how difficult it is for people to finally be quiet. And the point of it is so that we listen, so that we're actively listening, so that we're listening for our higher selves instruction, so that we're listening for those inner whispers from the divine. And anyway, one thing I would like to share about that little speech that he gave, and a nugget of wisdom that I took away from this, he talked about, you know, when we think of the divine, you know, we think of it being this all loving presence, and it is. But what he said when we were all sitting in the room, he goes, I bet you 50% of the people in this room have had some sort of powerful mystical experience. You may not have talked about it, or you may not believe it, or you may question it, or you are in some sort of fear concerning it. He said, but I'm telling you, he was like, drop the fear. And he started bringing in all these examples, not just scriptural, but relatable in real life too. He said there's groups that come up that are AA related or NA related, monastery, you know? And because being in that monastic environment can be very healing. You know, it's healing because when you're finally quiet and you're not distracted with a bunch of noise and responsibilities that life brings to us, then it's like, well, this is the way I describe it. It's like investigating yourself like you're under a microscope. Not everybody likes that, but you really do get to study your mind, your emotions, like your wounds, what you're in the process of healing. And it can be very, very beautiful, but it can also be disturbing, right? And so when think about someone going through AA or NA, right? And they're dealing with these inner demons that they're trying to heal from. And then they're going into this monastic environment, you know? I'm sure it's both, just like I experienced this weekend, moments of beauty and moments of disturbance, right? But there was one man that was there for the weekend, and he was talking to him, and he had been a raging alcoholic. He had abused his wife. His children had been taken out of the home and were sent to the grandparents because of how toxic the home life was. And so when he was talking to the Father Carlos about it, Father Carlos was like, well, what was the moment that changed you? And he said, the moment that changed me was just a simple moment of being in my house, being in the living room, watching TV, and my wife was in the kitchen. Just a normal everyday activity. He said, but something came over me and I realized this woman who got abused, this woman who got taken advantage of, this woman who's born my children and now the children are gone, is still by my side. She loves me that much. And that's what changed. Now, obviously, that's not the story for every addict, right? Not at all. But in his situation, he was so overwhelmed by her love that that's what turned the switch in his brain, in his heart, in his soul, and made the change. And then he started talking about, he goes, now, you know, when you think about Lent and what you may want to give up, he was like, it makes me laugh when people say they're just going to give up sugar or they're going to give up their nightly wine. He was like, because You're not really changing who you are. You're really not changing something that needs to be changed. You know, that's just a little thing. And anyway, just the way he talked about it, he even brought up one of the parables in the scriptures about the prodigal son and how the father welcomed him with open arms, regardless of how disrespectful he was, regardless of how rude he was wanting his inheritance before his parents had passed. You know, even though he went away and didn't have anything to do with them and spent all the money and then he came back again, his parents still welcomed him with open arms. And he was talking about love is the best healing agent. Love is the highest power of all. So again, we're talking about love. It seems like all month of February, every topic or everything that's inspired these classes is love-based, love-based, love-based. And February is for a month for heart health. And heart health is not just about the organ of the heart and functioning of the heart and the way it's pumping our circulation. It's about heart matters. It is about, are we embodying love? Are we allowing compassion and empathy to come in? Are we allowing ourselves to forgive? And this full moon was bringing up a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So whatever was being highlighted or illuminated in your psyche or in your life or with certain patterns, pay attention to that because something is needing to be seen. Something is needed to be heard. Something is needed to be felt. Something is needed to be dealt with so that we can overcome that, thrive in a more optimal place. So we're going to start in a restorative back bend. I want us to use the bolster behind us, where you're sitting on the ground, rolling your spine and head onto the prop, and letting your arms open up beside you. Palms spun open towards the heaven. And then I want you to check in with the alignment of your legs. For instance, if you bring your legs closer together so they're parallel, check in to see how that feels, specifically for your low back. And now take your feet wider and let your feet kind of flop open. And see here, is this better or worse? And if you find that having the legs extended, whether they're together or apart, is still a little discomforting for the low back, then try bending your knees, flattening your feet, and doing a little tucking of the tailbone to see if that is your sweet spot. Close your eyes. Now that you've found some comfort in your body, begin your mindful breath. Breathe fully and completely in and out through your nose, unless you need your mouth. Soften the expression away from your face, even the furrow of your brow. Invite the breath in, feeling your lungs expand. And also freely allow the breath to escape, allowing the lungs to deflate. Maybe even noticing the ripple effect of the breath, sensing how the belly expands, the side ribs, the chest expands next, and then following the descent back down from your heart to your core. Deepening your diaphragmatic breaths, Still keeping it under your command. And not treating it like a restorative pose that we're going to hold for 10 minutes. Instead, taking the reins of the breath in a way that you're centering yourself, focusing your mind and anchoring down into your body to prepare for the practice. Let this pranayama replenish your lungs. Let's take 3 more deep diaphragmatic breaths. Beautiful. On your next inhale, let's all slide the feet back so the knees are bent, but let's allow the feet to be wider apart, say on the edges of the mat. And then now let the knees roll over to the right side. Inhale, pick the knees back up. And as you exhale, let the knees toss over to the left. So you're bringing in this spinal twist. Inhale, knees rise. Exhale, switch them to the right. Inhale, knees back to center. Exhale, switch to the left. Let's do this one more time. Flowing in sync with your breath. And then the next time you lift the knees and bring yourself to the right, you're going to roll to your right side, push down to your left palm to come up, and slide the bolster off your mat. We'll sit with the hands behind our backs and the legs the same way that they just were. And we're going to do the windshield wipe twist here. This time rolling the knees to one side on the exhale. Inhale, knees turn back up. Exhale, take it to the other. Good, one more to each side. And then come right back where your feet are flat and your hands are cupping a hold of your shins. You're going to do a seated cat-cow, meaning as you inhale, you duck your head and you radiate your heart up and down. And as you exhale, your belly pulls in, your heart hides away, you straighten your arms and push into your shoulder blades. All right, inhale, let your knees widen as you blossom through. Shoulders draw back towards the vertebrae, chin juts up towards the sky. Exhale, the chin tucks to the chest as you roll back. So doing your seated cow. And then exhale to your seated cat stretch. Let's continue. Inhale, erect the spine. As you exhale, draw the feet together. And then as you're here, let your thumbs come to the base of the big toe and let your feet open out like a book so that your hips externally rotate a bit more and your thighs land a little lower. And then jut up through the shaft of the spine. And as you exhale, you're going to pour down with a straight back, folding essentially towards the feet. Inhale, extend through the spine, the low back, mid back, upper back, neck. Exhale, you're finding your range of flexibility. Wherever you feel that deep stretch through the inner thighs. And then feel free to activate a Ujjayi breath if you want to amplify it, if you want to listen to its sound. This pose is really good for the bladder, for the reproductive organs, obviously to open the hips. And then affirm mentally within, secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Inhale, let's gently rock the torso back to center. And as you exhale, you're going to pull your knees up and together. All right, let's just see if we can use our hands to prop the buttocks away from the floor and align over our ankles in what's called a toe balance. If your knees cannot handle this much flexion, please don't remain here. You can come up and do regular chair pose. We're going to see if we can balance just using the feet. So for now, let's take one hand at a time, stacking to the knees, and then back the heart up so that your head is aligning over the shoulders and your shoulders are aligning over your hips. This is stretching the fascia of the feet. Nice stretch for the toes. And if you set your eyes on one specific sedentary place in front of you, that's going to help your mental focus, which will help you to balance. See if you can now bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Maybe lifting over your crown. And then separating your fingers, doing the lotus mudra. Remembering the crown chakra is depicted by 1,000-petaled lotus. And some of those lotus petals turn down, not just up. And so the petals turning up is about spiritual evolution. The petals pointing down are about downloads from spirit or from our higher self. Let's bring the fingertips down to the floor. Let's drop the heels and straighten out through the legs as much as you can, but please don't force the legs to be straight because the hamstrings are tight early in the day. So if your knees want to have a little bit of a bend, that's all right. Let your upper body bow forward. Let your arms flex down. Let your head fall heavy. Don't forget your yogic breaths. The breath being the heart of yoga. The breath is what brings the magic in. It's a feel-good component. And then on your next inhale, press down through the soles of your feet. Slide your hands up your shins. Lengthen out through the spine so you're coming into Ardha Uttanasana. You might even feel a little bit more extension through your hamstrings here with your legs straightening out. Let your shoulders pull back away from your ears. And then exhale, gently release back over and down. Trying to keep your legs straight this time. Maybe a little bit more powerful sensation, but it's all good. Confirm here as you hold Uttanasana. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Not when I embrace the power of love. Now root down through the soles of your feet, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. When you bring your arms up overhead, come to upward worship. Gaze at your hands, gaze towards your thumbs, Hasta Drishti. Feel the work in your back and then bring the thumbs down to the upper part of your back. Let your chin drop so it's parallel to the floor. Now let your upper arms roll in towards your ears and lift through your floating ribs, your base ribs. Let the cavity of the chest kind of protrude forward. Try not to tuck the tailbone, so keep your pelvis rather neutral. Breathe into your heart space. Last week, it was about breaking down any barriers that we've built up against love, giving or receiving. Inhale, lift the fingertips skyward. As you exhale, swan dive forward and down to your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Inhale, let's come halfway up again. Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, Gently release and let go. You're welcome to bring blocks in if you want to use them. We're going to step the left foot way back behind us and lunge that right knee. When we come into this lunge, again, you can be on your hands or you can bring the blocks underneath your shoulders. Look at that front knee. Make sure it's centered towards the second and third toe, not caving in, not rolling out. And then go ahead and set your back knee gently to the floor. Good. Inhale. Pluck the back knee off the ground again. All right. Now, do you notice when we set the knee down, we just whoop, we went down, right? We're going to go down much, much slower than that. Okay. So pluck that back knee off the floor. So your hamstrings are lifting up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, you're slowly going to start to bend the back knee. Go slow, slow like a sloth, slow like a sloth, slow like a sloth. Everybody knows a sloth, right? You shouldn't be touching the floor yet. Slow, slow, slow. If someone was watching you right now, they may not even notice you were moving your back leg. Okay, that's how slow we're going. This is called leg burn, right? See why? I do too. It burns. All right, go ahead and spill the knee down. Oh, and let's untuck the back foot. Oh, what a relief it is. Push down through your right foot. Draw up to the pelvic floor. Lift the arms up overhead. So you're coming into Anjaneyasana. From Anjaneyasana, you're going to exhale, sink your hips, splay the arms open, and then inhale, push through the right foot, draw up to the pelvic floor. Lift the arms straight up alongside your ears again. Good. Exhale, sink in, bow back. All right, one more of those. Inhale, push through the right foot, draw up to the pelvic floor, up through the shaft of the spine, and then exhale, sink the hips, open the chest, gaze up if you can, and then exhale, bring the hands down. Feel free to use those blocks if you need. We're going to back the hips up and lift the right foot. So the toes are jutting upward on the center of the heel. This is half Hanumanasana or half splits. So you can fold if your hamstrings a lot for that. But if your hamstrings are already screaming, don't do anything else. Honor your body. Practice in a loving, compassionate way with what's available for you today. Not wishing or wanting anything to be different, right? That's so hard. Not wanting or wishing for anything to be different. Just accepting yourself right here, right now. Good. On your next in-breath, we're going to come back to the sole of the right foot. We're going to walk the blocks forward, set those to the sides, plant the palms, curl the back toes, step into our plank position. Now look down at your hands, middle finger point straight ahead. All right, have equal distance between your fingers. Push down to the mounds of the hands so your arms get long and strong. Make sure your thighs are still plucking up like you did in the lunge earlier. That way you're not bowing your back or dragging your hips. Now rock forward with your feet, lower down, elbows squeeze and scrape the side ribs, chaturanga, low push-up. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. And as you exhale, stay on your knees. Lengthen back into child's pose, the extended form where your arms stay outstretched. Keep your hands super glued to the mat. Let your elbows fly up away from the earth. Let your belly tap onto your thighs. Breathe in that deep diaphragmatic way. This is good for digestion. Inhale, let's come forward and up to table. Exhale, curl the toes, launch back into downward facing dog, where your sits bones are becoming the pinnacle of the pose. Feet, not too wide, not too narrow. About 4 to 6 inches in between the big toes works great. Keep pressing through the feet to fly your sacrum up, up, as high as you can. And then slowly begin to travel the feet forward. Slowly stepping, baby stepping. Folding in half. Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. create some space. And then exhale, roll back in. Let your neck go. Next in breath, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. If it doesn't strain your shoulders or neck, bring the palms together, gaze up towards your hands, Hasta Drishti. Exhale, bring the thumbs to the upper back. Let your arms roll in towards your face. Let your base ribs jut up towards the ceiling. Gaze up. Breathe into your heart space. Inhale, fingertips lifting. Exhale, swan diving back in. Uttanasana, you're standing forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen up halfway. Good. Exhale, roll it back down. This time we're going to step the right foot back. Again, yogi's choice whether or not you want to use the blocks. All right, make sure that front shin is perpendicular to the ground. Exhale, descend your back knee. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, you're going to create that slow burn. And I'm not a big country music fan, but I'm trying to figure out some of it a little bit. Because my boyfriend's a guitar player, and I have no idea when he says who he's recording with. I don't know who these artists are. But he got me into Casey Musgraves. I only know one album, but so good. But there's a song on that album that I like. Slow Burn, right?
Doesn't mean this.
Doesn't mean that. Sing that song in your head if you want while you're feeling that slow burn come into the back leg. All right. Are you touching it? Not yet. Not yet. Oh, I'm starting to shake. Okay, let's release it. Let's untuck back foot. All right, when you're ready, push down through the left foot, draw up to the pelvic floor. You got your root lock, belly lock occurring. So for sagging into the joints, there's no bondages at play. So this is where we suction up, and then exhale, bow back and sink in. Inhale, activate. Good. Exhale, sink in and open. Inhale, engage and line up. Good. Exhale, release and let go a little. Good. Inhale, coming back up on Janayasana. Bring the hands down. Let's walk it back. Straighten out that front leg. Have Hanabanasana. Folding until you find your degree of flexibility. Then affirm mentally within, I choose to believe in infinite possibilities. I choose to believe in infinite possibilities. So I heard someone say something the other day that I thought went really well with the astrology and numerology for 2024, because this is all about, taking action, being seen, being heard, finding your confidence, taking a leap of faith. And look at this pose right now that we're in, this half split. It comes from an Indian myth and about how Hanuman jumped from India to Sri Lanka to save Sita, who had been kidnapped by an evil king. He took a leap of faith. And this year is a leap year. I just discovered that. I didn't think about it until we're getting to the end of February. I'm like, how perfect. So when you get to leap day, think about, how am I going to leap this year? All right, coming back onto the sole of the left foot, traveling those blocks forward, maybe setting them off to the side, curling the back toes. We're going back into the vinyasa of stepping into plank. Now uphold your plank a moment, because when we're going through like a vinyasa style practice, we just rush through it, don't we? But women especially can benefit from this pose. Men have natural upper body strength. This is helping us women gain it. And not just muscle strength, but bone density as well. Let's rock forward. Let's drop down, chaturanga. Try to hover if you can. Inhale, rise up to upward facing dog. Exhale, curl your toes this time. You're still pushing back into child's pose, but your toes are curled this time. With your toes curled, you may find that your head hovers, but if you slide your arms a little bit more ahead of you, your head may gently fall to the floor. It's okay if it wants to hover. Active arms, flushing out the lymph nodes in the pits of the arms. And if you're resting on your brow, I'm helping to activate a pressure point here that's helpful for inducing some mental peace. We could all use that. Inhale, rock up, hands and knees, and then lift off to downward facing dog. And you're rolling more from your toes to the balls of the feet. Keep lifting your seat skyward. Let your head bow between the arms. The gaze is really set towards the feet or in between. Some traditionalists say up towards the navel. That hurts my neck to do that. Let's travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Let go when you arrive. And then inhale, prop up halfway. Exhale, lower back in. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Coming back to that upward worship. Exhale, thumbs to the upper back. Roll the arms in. Create your back bend here. Gaze up, setting your drishti at one specific spot. Then inhale, bring the arms back up overhead. And exhale, bring hands home to the heart. All right, we're going to change it up this time. Inhale, the arms sweep up. Keep your chin parallel to the floor. Exhale, hands together and bow straight down the middle. Once you bow to your Uttanasana, inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release. Feel free to bring those blocks into play. We're going to step the left foot back. Keep that front knee lunging. I liked that. Inhale, bring the arms up. All right, now, see if you can lift through your side waist, lift through your base ribs, and perhaps start to bow the back to really create the crescent moon shape from your thumb swooping down your back to your back heel. All right, exhale. Hands to the hips. Slow descent. You don't have to go as slow as the sloth, but still slow. Slow. But eventually touching you. Okay, untuck the foot, reach the arms up, activate your bandhas for that infrastructure, inner support. Exhale, sink into the hips, open up the chest. Inhale, bring the arms back up. Good, exhale, bring your hands down. This time when you bring your hands down, we're going back into the half Hanumanasana. But bring one of these blocks with you to perhaps sit down on if you can't sit solo on your own without the block. The block's there if you need it. How is it? Is it working out? Take your time. So again, you can be on a block. And if this is like, yeah, not working today, Robbie, then do this. Okay? Just do this one. No big deal. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. So we're trying to be on the top of the left foot. And if the left knee wants to V out, see if you can make your thighs parallel. Don't force it, but just see, is that even a possibility? Maybe can be a little contemplative. Is there some sort of leap that you are wanting to take this year, this spring? Maybe you're already in the process of doing it. And walk the hands in. And we're going to shift away from the block. You can bring it with you as you come forward. We're going to tuck the back toes under. We're going to lift the back knee. Good. Now hop the back foot forward, set the heel down, straighten out through both legs, and then slowly come to stand. Good. When you come up to stand, if you feel like way out of balance, hop the left foot over. Because I know back in the day, we had all these stringent rules. Those rules don't have to apply. You want to be balanced. Square your hips. And you can hook your arms together at your sacrum. If you're a little bit more flexible, you may be able to do reverse namaste hands. But if you do namaste hands, you don't want your shoulders poking forward. You want them to roll back and your elbows to lean open. Okay, so either way, lift your chest, lean your head back slightly. And as you exhale, you're going to slightly pivot so that your left rib cage and navel is going to start pouring down towards the right knee. Now, obviously, not to touch the knee, right? Keep your neck in line with your spine. See how that good. Good. Deep breaths. Perfect. Yeah, feel the difference there? Yeah. Nice. Good. Keep that back foot glued to the floor. Keep your heart shining out instead of just dumping over. Right? There's a difference. All right, on your next in-breath, now apply more pressure through your front foot, and that will help you to accelerate, to drive up. Let your arms reach up overhead, and then as you exhale, come on down, lunging that front knee, wiggling the left foot back, because we narrowed that stance. Send the blocks away, step into your plank. Hold your plank. Right? Again, a pose that we tend to just rush through, but this is an important pose. Try to straighten out through your elbows more. Feel as though you're pushing the floor away from you. Keep your thighs lifted. Keep your belly hugging in. Good. Now rock forward and lower down and hover. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. Exhale, curl your toes, rock and roll back to downward facing dog. Pressing into the mounds of the index fingers and thumbs, especially to feel the difference in how that caters to your arms and shoulders. Let go in your neck, look towards your feet. Enjoy the inversion that helps us to look at things differently and in a fresh new way. So on your next in-breath, we need to get that left foot and launch it forward towards the front side of the mat. And once you have that foot solidified in the front, feel free to bring the blocks in to set up your lunge. And this is where we come up. Finding your balance here at first. And then lifting through your sideways, lifting through your base ribs, and seeing if you can distribute more of the back bend throughout your spine. Good. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hands to the hips. We know where we're going today. We're lunging that back knee. Taking our time. Slow go. Gravity wants us to go faster, doesn't it? So defy gravity a little bit. Until you finally touch down. Untuck the back toes. Lift the arms up. Anjaneyasana. Good. Exhale. Hang back. Open the gates of the heart. Drop into the hips. Inhale. Open back up again. Palms face each other. Exhale. Bring the hands down. Flip the left foot. Walk it back with one block. Maybe to sit on. Maybe your knees and ankles are good enough. You don't need a block at all. And that's all right. We're attempting to keep the thighs parallel. We're attempting to stay on the top of the back foot. All right, inhale. Arms lifting will help to lengthen the back. Keep that spine elongated as you fold. Traditionally, we gaze out towards the toes, but if that's not good for your neck, look down towards the knee. Again, some of these stringent rules that we used to have don't always apply. We have to personalize our practice. And the way we personalize our practice is doing the self-study. The self-study is the inner investigative work. Similar to being at the monastery doing a silent retreat, looking at yourself like you're under a microscope. That is yoga. Then on your next inhale, let's lift our torso. Let's come away from the block. If you're sitting on it, bring it forward with you as you re-lunge that front knee, as you curl the back toes and come back to lunge. Now from here, we're going to offset and hop the back foot forward and slowly straighten your legs as you come to stand. We're coming towards Uttanasana. So I'm going to use you. Okay. So we want to try to square the hips. I don't want you to try to square the hips though. And here's why. Look at your back foot. See how his back foot is turned. Some of you are the same, so I want you to use this example. Look at your foot. If it's turned more to the side, you actually want it turned in. You see the difference between her back foot and his back foot? That's it. Now that you've corrected the base, the foundation, then you can bring it up to the hip and square the hips, right? Otherwise, if the foot's turned out and you're trying to square the hips, you could potentially torque the back knee, right? Because the knee's going to want to go where the toes are facing. All right, so now that you've corrected that, everything looks good on this side, that side too. Okay, hook your arms the opposite way than you did before. We're habitual creatures. If you didn't think about it before, don't think about it now, and then reverse it. If it feels the same, it is the same. If you want to do the reverse namaste hands, that's okay too. Lean back. Exhale. When you start to pour over, you're turning your right shoulder and belly button. So it's cascading down in the direction of the left knee. And we do just that little pivot. You're just such a good listener. You're over doing it. That's great. Right here. You see how we level the shoulder? Typically what happens? Like that. And you were overcompensating this. Good. Keep your legs strong. Keep lifting through your kneecaps, contracting your quads, especially in a hamstring stretch. Listen to your breath. On and go. Good. Inhale. Let's slowly build it up. Let's release the arms, lift them overhead. Exhale, start to lunge the knee. Need to back up the right foot or wiggle the toes back behind. You've got that long stride between the feet. Now go ahead and walk the right foot forward. Lower down and into your Uttanasana. Your standing forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, pour right back down. And inhale all the way up to stand tall. Chin parallel to the floor, palms face one another. Exhale, hands come back to prayer. How we doing? Good, good. Okay, inhale, arms circle wide and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, spill right back down in. All right, inhale, left foot's gonna step back. Lunge that right knee. Go ahead and set the back knee to the floor. Untuck the back foot. Walk it back. Taps. Padmanasana. All right, so if you want to stay here, stay here. If you want to bring your hands to the floor and try to slide the right foot forward and move more into a full split. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mine's certainly not perfect. Again, yogi's choice. That's beautiful, good. All right, tricky parts come out. So root lock, slide your front foot back. Okay, now, if you need to sit on a block again, bring it with you. You might be able to sit down without the block. If you need the block, use it, okay? Bring the bolster behind you. This time we're gonna lean back instead of folding forward. Now, if you can't take your hands back behind you, I'm okay if you completely switch up that left leg and you can bring the foot to the inner thigh or knee. But we're gonna see if we can potentially roll back in one of those positions, either the half saddle or the half butterfly. So yeah, if the block's in the way, just let go of the block and do this instead. Bring that foot, yes, just forget about that leg. And then just come here. Yes, just like that. So this is what I mean by catering to your body, catering to your potential. That's loving. That's yoga. We do have two sides though. So we're going to slowly lift the head, turn your hands down, and use your upper body strength to help to guide you back up. Okay? From here, we're coming forward. Taking our last vinyasa. And it's okay if you want to skip that vinyasa. Maybe that's the more loving act for you today. All right. Now we're going to take that left foot and step it ahead. Go ahead and drop the back knee to the ground. Good. From here, we're gonna bring it back. So again, if you need the block, use the block, and maybe just send your hands back like this. Maybe this is your pose. Totally good with that. This is it. It's just a different shape. If you can sit on this side, bring that bolster in. And again, if this is too much, don't do it. Recreate. Create a situation that you can commit to, and then release onto the top. You're still getting benefits either way. Nice. Isn't it better when you listen to your body or giving permission to do something different? Kristen, you run, don't you?
No.
You don't? Okay. For some reason, I was thinking when you were getting situated, I was like, I think she's a runner. Just type once.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would laugh too if someone asked me that. No, I'm not a runner.
Try.
Lift the head up. Turn the hands down. Oh, I forgot the split on that side, didn't I? So those of you that did want to try the split, sorry I forgot this side. You could go for it here. And one side's always a little more accessible than the other. So. And of course, you have to come out. So yes, pushing down through the hands, pulling up to the pelvic floor, sliding that left foot back, sometimes bringing the mat with you. It's all good. All right, we are gonna set up Stonehenge at the top of the mat with two. Okay, so this, by the way, if you need a visual, that's too wide for the blocks. You want them to be more narrow so that it's going to hold up your body better. Okay, and once you create Stonehenge with your props, I wanted to bookmark today with restorative poses. That's what we're doing. We're gonna lift the legs up. And down flat on the back. And we'll end with a little restoration. Take as much time as you need to get settled in a position that you can begin to relax. To allow stress, tension, fatigue, illness, or worry fall away. As you're slowing your body down, the heart rate will also begin to slow. The breath is slow. But I want you to maintain awareness and a sense of wakefulness through the next few minutes. So try not to allow yourself to fall into a slumber. It's helpful if you look towards the mind's eye at the center of your brow. want you to feel the energy in your body. This vibration you're holding. Keep bathing and basking in this energy that we've opened up. And trust the body's natural intelligence to take this healing energy where it needs to go. At the same time, I want you to reflect on love, the power of love, especially unconditional. Stretching out your inhale, flowing down your exhale. And then inhale, take your arms overhead if you haven't already. And then as you exhale, hug your knees to your belly and chest. Give yourself a nice big hug here. Give a little love to your back and kidneys by rocking, swaying lightly side to side. And turning to one side of your body. Acclimating here. Coming out to take a seat. Joining the hands together to prayer. The light and the love that I hold within my heart bows respectfully to the love and the light that you hold within you. Namaste. Namaste. Guys, so much for attending today. Every year when I come back to the monastery, somebody inevitably will ask me, where is this? I actually learned it from a student when I first moved to Franklin. It's in Trappist, Kentucky. It was built in the late 1800s. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's 2.5 hours. It's easy to get to. It's completely free. You get your own room, private bath. I mean, you're living kind of like a monk though. I mean, it's a twin bed. There's nothing fancy about it. They feed you 3 times a day. There's trails that you can walk. You can go in and listen to the monks pray and sing 7 times a day, even in the middle of the night, because they'll have the bell ringing to get up and do that. But you can also go to St. Mary's down in Sewanee, Tennessee. You could also, there's a Thich Nhat Hanh monastery. They're wanting a more Buddhist kind of environment down in Mississippi, of all places. There's also the Art of Living, Richard Robinson Card's place, which is fantastic yoga Ayurveda base. I've been there too. It's amazing, but it's Boone, North Carolina. If you want to drive a little bit farther, it's amazing. And they have great Indian food at the Art of Living too. Yeah, so these places are around. If you want to create your own silent retreat somewhere.
Yep.
We have can't eat Indian food to be silent.